usually don't take
Oh.
calls.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any problems with the minutes?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
I second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Well, I guess I should say after this meeting.
Yeah, we're done with
I've been looking into the Department of Revenue's website to try and find the numbers for our sales tax, the Atchison County sales tax. Haven't been able to find, I've been able to find the rate, but not the totals and where they're dispersed. So, does anybody have a link or?
It's through DOR, isn't it? I think DOR would be the main link.
I did the Department of Revenue,
Yeah.
but unfortunately it says whenever I put in the query, sales tax, Atchison County, it says they do the rate. And what I'm trying to present for the June 6th committee meeting is, okay, here's the number. Here's the ad valorem component, here's the actual sales generated component. What percentage of these two need to go towards joint communication?
Mike gets it someplace, I don't know if he calls or someone gives it to him.
Who's
I think
requesting
it's, don't quote me, but I think it's 1.8 million there.
Total, yeah.
Total, and the city also has numbers as well, so I don't.
The other thing I got to thinking about when we discussed the percentages of sales tax, well, they just want to know like what our portion that we collect from sales tax we're going to dedicate, because when we were looking at what we receive plus what we generate, it was right around 44%, I think is what. Okay, but that's the total what we receive back plus ours. I wonder, does the committee just want like our
Well,
what we?
what we really need is a number as a percent. And we base,
My suggestion is that you have them come up with a recommendation for you. That is, you know, they should come up with what they think the budget ought to be. Of course, that hopefully will be based on what it has been in the past, and what was budgeted and whatnot. But then in terms of funding, ask them, how should it be funded?
Well, they just specifically asked what percentage of sales tax are we going to spend towards.
that is an,
I think Mike said that we need 600,000 for the solid waste, we need 500,000 for joint communications, and 250 for drum and ambulance. And that's around 70% of sales tax, I believe, one.
I think that begs the question. If you've already decided, because I think it's a broader discussion than just simply,
Yeah, 600,000 we're looking at roughly on the solid waste. That 600, I'm just asking like, are they wanting to know like what the total that we receive plus what we collect, or is it just what we collect?
well, the reason it's such a complicated answer, and the reason I need a little bit more direction is, I think we would say, do we pay
It's like 800 some thousand total, I believe. It's like between 800 and 900,000 what we collect.
But in your email, there was no labor, no insurance, no capers, and that stuff.
I didn't think those were in there. Chase,
What
when
I
you got
export-
that, Chase tells me those are in.
they're reflected. Now, the differences between what the auditor comes up with and how they categorize what was brought up in the Heineke study, and then how we do it on our own basis.
Because they broke it down too, didn't
They
they?
broke it down, but they combined it differently,
Okay.
so it's categorized differently.
Okay.
But it's all the same number, and, depending on what you include or not include, it's still gonna come to a number, and this number's been consistent throughout a number of years as to what it takes. Now, the sales tax question is, and this is why I actually prefer to go about it the other way, is what do we know, or what amount do we want to fund with the assessments, so that can be the exact number, and then, so say we want to generate 500,000 in assessments, and that leaves $418,000 left over to be picked up by sales tax,
I think you want,
or vice versa.
you want to start off with the sales tax first, and then have that last, so we can get a truer picture of if we can lower it, or we got to,
Mhm.
looks like to me that was the last one we figured in, I don't know.
Yeah, and they were kinda using it, like, what's that gap?
Exactly,
You know, what's the
that's
solid
the gap, but-
It's the solid waste fees of what they were gonna recommend, they said that was including the gap.
But for clarity's sake, I want to use one number. Everybody has the exact same number. Everybody knows that 40% of the city of Atchison's, and then 40% of what this number will mean based off of the general, or the total sales tax that's generated in the county. If everybody has the same number, then we can assign the same percentages. And,
Change every year, but everybody should be the same.
but that gives me, we do need to, and to bring it to the solid waste committee and say, okay, Effingham, you pitch in this much, it can be expected. Lancaster turns over 100%, I think. And then Huron it'll be suggested that Huron turns over whatever their percentage is. Does that add up to what we want to commit, or what they're suggesting that we need to commit, so that balance, that gap is then funded with whatever kind of assessment or tipping fee that we need. It's just not knowing.
Well, in a sense, that's the hardest, or the biggest political question that exists in county government today. Why we would simply say, we're going to answer that for you, instead of getting input from them. I think the purpose of it is for you to get input from them, so that's what my recommendation would be, to ask them for that input on how to handle that issue.
Well, that's what I was getting confused, like, why we weren't even looking at, they're so worried about the efficiencies, why aren't they looking at, like, ways to reduce the expenses, or, just, because in order to fund it correctly, you need to know how much it's going to cost.
Exactly, that's true, I think that's the starting point.
And we have sent that out.
And
I
Chase,
have sent that out.
that's really where my issue comes up here. In 2008, the total expenditures audited were $977,000. That does not include any employee benefits, because those were separate here. In 2009, they were $871,000, so it's $100,000 less. In 11, they were $905,000, or excuse me, in 2010, they were $905,000, and in 2011, $910,000. I don't think any of those included employee benefits. And so the number for 2012 is lower than that with benefits.
It was the dry year. We had over $100,000 in savings in contractual services because of that dry year. But
Well, we can't budget for all dry years.
right, and that's why we have the $509,000 for contractual. I guess what's hazy for me is that prior to last year, we didn't even break out department or employee benefits. It was its own. It was its own mill rate. So the number should have been included. We should have had a shortfall. It should have just been a matter of transferring from the employee benefits fund or appropriating it out. That's.
Employee benefits, let's see how it's all.
In what year?
Every year. We pay that employee benefits and then we write a check out of solid waste to reimburse employee benefits. But every year,
It's probably because when it started out in its infancy, everybody was wanting to keep it separate.
we probably didn't keep it separate probably in the earlier years, but we did in the later ones.
Oh, okay. You need to. That is the gray area. According to these, there is a line item back from 2006 for employee benefits that needs to be figured in. However, these numbers were generated from the Heineke study and our actuals. I have 10, 11, and 12. I could probably go back in that column for 2006. budget report that has like that 13th month, what the final numbers were. And again, our auditors, they'll clump it and split that numbers differently, they'll put it in full benefit, so it is a bit of a mess, and trying to straighten it out is fun. And I think, for the purposes of this, for tomorrow, for the subcommittee meeting, we will have a number that, and I'll try and find more and more information that says contrary, or anything that says, something different than what's been reported, then I'll try and disclose that. But we have a number, our expenditures number that we're gonna base all the following discussions on. So,
When you have your meeting, why don't you say, we're gonna focus on this topic, that's all we're gonna talk about.
I did request that in the email, that I asked that our conversation be strictly related to the expenditures, so that we can have a number to base all of our further discussions on. And we'll see what goes from there.
Do we know what is the amount that we ourselves just out of what we received? In the 800 some thousand range, because the percentage is gonna be different. They're gonna ask, does that make sense, if they're talking about just what we collect?
Right. And again, that's why,
Here it's 830, 850, somewhere in that range, you know.
I don't
That's
know.
what we collect without any cities remitting any to the state.
that's what the state turns over directly.
Directly to us.
And I've heard somebody say that they can get that information off of the state Kansas website. I've not had a Google search to try to find it.
I just, sorry.
But, are we on?
Yeah, we got a couple, we got some stuff that's
Good action.
we came back to me. Shelley, you're next.
Purchase order for reader almost pretty low now. It goes in, just to get on those.
We do those, hopefully, those are for your meeting.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna put something behind your laptop. I put something behind your laptop.
Oh, okay. You want to sign them?
Did you say your security door?
Yeah, we have a reader that will scan a file or punch a code in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know, so,
Are you on the same type of system that everything else on?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Bob.
We've got a file
It
and we're
works with
punching a
the
code in.
It's similar to
It's similar, but ours has a keypad on it as well.
it's more like what the police department has.
Just curious.
Yeah, I'm coming in the other day and, he wouldn't let me in, so the alarm started going off.
Roger, what do you have for us?
Thanks, guys.
You guys need to come up Friday, talk about youth center.
Wednesday.
We gotta have to hold on.
Yeah, we got a couple, yeah, these two guys. Yeah, gonna come up. I'm gonna give us about, 20 minutes.
That's fine.
Does that work for you?
Working away on something here, but I'll be back up in 25 minutes.
Okay,
Great, thank you.
thank you.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kilo here for, 2 rollers for the asphalt laser machine for $648.70.
I think she was gonna look up and see what's in there. Well, you said that, you had a balance on that special,
$203,608.
230,
203,
230.
610.
do we, are we using any of that special, the gas tax? Are you, when you remit any expenses, are we using any of that for like road repairs or? That's repair too, so construction, reconstruction, alteration, repair, maintenance on highways. That's that special gas tax that's collected.
As far as I'm aware, it's just going into the general fund.
I don't think that, I thought that was, I think it's its own separate fund.
Yeah, 'cause I gave you a copy of it.
What
It went
is-
into a separate account.
Is that something that just
Might be.
changed since we went into the? Alright. Well, before we switched our
Yeah,
budget,
it was always in
it
your
was just
account.
went into the general fund.
It was put into your account.
Right.
Or
It was before, but now,
it's
I guess we have a
whole
separate-
different fund.
Which I think you're
You
supposed-
need to
I
have
think-
different things by general fund.
Yeah, we can't put, I don't think we can put that in the, I don't think we can put that in general fund.
General fund, you're referring to your budget, and general fund, she's referring to the whole,
Every fund within it, yeah,
yeah.
so, no, yes, no. We got a nice
I'll have
little,
to-
we got a nice
I'll
little
look at that.
balance of over 203,000 on it. so
Okay,
we've
and
got-
that can only be used on roads, right?
Yeah, it says construction, reconstruction, alteration, repair, and maintenance for highways.
Can it, Pat, can it be used for bridges? 'Cause bridges are on roads.
I'd have to look up the statute.
So say we can use like,
Is there a statute number?
we started putting asphalt down today, we can
I don't
use,
know if there's on that or not.
take that out of there, and then our chip and seal, we can also take it out of there.
Is there a statute number on that too?
79-3425. That's the special city and county highway fund.
Waterline headquarters, 1080.
Yeah, you got like several things you can use, you got river road tubes,
Yeah.
you got some tubes out there.
That'd be good for like projects, you know, when you outline like specific projects, it'd be good to. Yeah, River Road would be a good project on that. We've got it budgeted obviously in your actual budget, but I mean,
Right.
This might be good for, well, you know, it's worth all the, for some things that we don't have budget, you can take out here like that, some more tubes.
Right.
well, even that safety, you know, like, that safety grant, you know, on 262nd, we use for that.
Right.
You saw that, for that.
Could do that even in 2013 if we really wanted to.
Yeah. How much did you say was in there?
203,000.
See, not all of it, we don't get it all. I think we get distributions during the year,
Right.
But that's the current balance in it right now,
right now.
yeah.
I'll look into that farther, I guess I was aware of it, but I wasn't aware of exactly where it was going.
Yeah, could be in a separate.
You haven't heard anything from that Steve Kagan on the old 574 either?
No, talking about,
Or Leroy?
Leroy, yeah. No, actually I thought about that on the way in here, I'll give him a call and see if he's got any updates, because I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, because they're going into, that'd be 2000, by the time it's done, 2014. I don't think it's by lane mile, I think it's by actual miles.
By center line mile.
Center line mile.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe there's two center lines, maybe we do it. The trailer, I did get a couple more ones, or quotes, I'm sorry. I got one from TNT Sales, for a Fontaine, 2014 Fontaine, for $74,950. And then also I got one from highway trailer sales in Kansas City, for $50,892. And then I have the current one for a Coughlin trailer for $39,000.
These are light.
Yes, yeah.
It's light. Well, I don't know what kind it was, but I don't
Yeah.
know more than 35 trailers.
And then I have
That's a copy.
that's the one for, the Fontaine, or, I'm sorry, Coughlin. And, then I have, the Coughlin one was a little bit, I do have a PO for it, if he's, signed it.
I didn't entertain a motion to accept Kaufman, trailer bid of $39,000 from Vespera Equipment Sales, Fremont, Nebraska.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
I second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. We need to sign.
I can do it. He is all I
We don't
need.
need
Can I
them
just get the,
now.
vaccine?
Oh, and is there anybody that can cut a check or not?
You can't get it for tomorrow, since when we do our other check.
If I can get tomorrow, that'd be fine. But I'd like to go first next week and get it. But
First next, well, I mean, we'll
Tuesday.
kind of, okay.
Monday.
We'll have it ready for,
Okay.
We need a motion,
Monday.
we need a motion to approve manual check.
Well, we're gonna do checks Friday anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
not
no,
gonna be
that's
here,
fine.
but you said you're gonna go up Monday anyway, right?
Tuesday.
Well,
Yeah. That'll be fine.
okay. Do you have the other one? I just.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any special permits or anything to, go up there and get that?
No. I don't believe so.
You don't have to get a diesel permit in Nebraska and get that.
Well, I was thinking we was exempt, but I will call the highway patrol and check on it.
You might be, so
I was thinking it was governmental, we was exempt,
you probably are.
but I will call and check it, so I don't get my guy arrested. The only other thing I had, did you have time to discuss the other employee?
Not really, really.
No, Mike had to get going on a conference call, we didn't get a chance to talk to him. He's supposed to be calling in, I think, here, 3 o'clock for the fire district, maybe we can ask him then.
What kind of thing is this?
Yes.
Okay.
PITCS.
What was it?
I looked at that statute, it looks like maybe it's a little more complicated.
The highway trailer sale.
Portion of that, looks like it has to get transferred back to the townships.
Yeah, that's all been done. She distributes it to the county
That's
and
our
the
actual
township.
balance, that's our actual balance of
Okay,
ours.
and so after that, it looks to me like you could do anything. I shouldn't say do anything you want, but, you could certainly go into, to bridge fund. The fact that there are, several counties have specifics, Sedgwick and Shawnee 50% to Road and Bridge, Wyandotte 10%.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, because you use it for specific projects, I mean, that would enable us, you know, if we wanted to start that 262 road, if he was thinking about December start of date, that would enable us to go ahead and get that going, because that's gonna be after harvest traffic and, well, a whole lot going on in December.
What was our part of that?
19.
39,000?
Yeah, 37.
37 plus.
Plus constitute,
Yeah.
19. Yeah.
good project, good work.
I just talked to, Tom Bennett again about the flooring contract. He did say that if these don't get fined right away, it probably will move back to lead date. It's set for next April. He said probably would set it back just a little bit, but, he said that isn't a big deal, it's just we'll have to wait a couple more months.
That's on the, bridge down the river.
Right, and I think we need to have a discussion about, whether you're willing to use, eminent domain if necessary.
I would like to talk to Mrs. Bowers face to face before I go that far.
Well, certainly there would be, there definitely would be those discussions before. From what I understand, she's fairly entrenched about wanting to sell. And so I've not had any discussion with her about that.
I'm just guessing that there's so many in that trust that it's simpler to say we can't sell than it is one wants to sell and one wants this and one wants that.
Why wouldn't you have a representative, typically,
She's the leader.
she's the,
She's the leader.
Well, the trustee,
They fight amongst themselves.
the trust may very well say that she cannot sell real estate. Very well could be in there. But as I said, I think that's probably a discussion we ought to have in the executive session, attorney-client privilege, for.
Okay. Do we need to do it today, or next week, or?
Probably better when Mike is here as well. I don't think it's that urgent, so I think next week would be good. If we're going to, if we're gonna run out of time, we could maybe start early and have the executive session before the meeting, if you wanted to do that.
I got an idea. I'd like to talk with Mike is here. I would like to have a workshop and then have a meeting. Maybe start at 10 and go to 12 with workshop and then go to lunch and come back at 1 o'clock and start our open meeting.
Or a budget workshop, or?
Just
No, meeting structure.
meeting structure.
We could do some budget workshops, I think we might get a couple of those, those would be good.
But like I said, I'd like to meet with the commissioners and have a budget workshop and help everybody out, so we're all on the same page.
Mhm.
There was a lot of
I think
projects.
each department needs to have a workshop on this, probably Jack as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's a good discussion, we can talk about next week, come up on a new month here, so.
Okay. So I have a question for that.
Okay.
When you sent out the letters to the people out there hiring on the right of ways, did you put a expiration date on that, when they supposed to have that moved, or?
So you got kind of a new fleet now?
Good. I'll break our office at the end of the day, get it on caution going down first one.
Is that the, Crown Vic, or? So now what happened, it was, the run run out, or what was going on?
Really?
Yeah.
It's missing really bad, and it's just, it's about a mile long.
Front door turned out real nice.
Sorry?
The front door turned out real nice.
Yeah. Have an executive session, sitting on that,
Okay, how long do you think we need?
25 minutes, at the most.
Just run it back to, that's how we find it.
I told him I'd text him.
Yeah.
So,
Entertain a motion to go into executive session with, the sheriff and County Attorney and Commissioners for approximately 25 minutes, coming out at 2:55. Personnel matter, non-elected personnel.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman. We go to executive session.
Second that, all in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.
You said Sheriff and County Attorney?
Mm-hmm. County Council. Assistant Attorney.
City of Effingham existing fire district. City of Effingham followed that, they published notice, they had a public hearing, I assume nobody showed up.
We had, some in attendance, but no one presented any particular objection, you know. I think somebody said they weren't sure if it was the best thing, it was not the closest thing to an objection.
And candidly, we had received, I think a couple of the commissioners had received some phone calls that had some concerns, but those concerns really, I think, had to do with the, concerns on whether or not they were still gonna get to use the city's building for the fire equipment and whatnot. I think those things got worked out with the written agreement,
Yes.
so,
Everything looks okay, Pat?
I'm sorry?
Everything looks good?
Yes, I prepared this resolution. Thank you to Roger Denton for preparing the legal description that you see there, because he consolidated from how many different, prior.
I don't remember.
Prior resolution to get us down to that simple one. I can see no reason why you would not approve it.
Mike, you have any, questions?
No, I have no questions. I think everything that I had a concern earlier with has all been resolved, and the last resolution I see that looked like everything was in order.
Okay. Any further questions? Entertain a motion to adopt resolution number 2013-1366, resolution by the Board of County Commissioners of Ice County, Kansas, reorganizing and expanding the territory of Fire District Number 2, County of Aston, Kansas, to include City of Effingham, Kansas within the district.
I so moved.
Have a second.
I second it.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Carried 3-0. And how many copies do we need to sign?
I think the county just needs one, and the city maybe wants one.
Yeah, we'd like to have one.
City of Ashland, Effingham, sorry.
Mike's not here to sign today. We'll have to get you one.
Yeah, that's fine, that'd be fine.
Since Mr. Bodenhatz isn't here, can we just,
Sure.
you go upstairs to the court, or anything? We can put one in your box upstairs to the court?
Or just drop it in the mail to Pat, no, that's easy.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Larry.
Yep.
She's still on.
Thanks, Roger.
Yeah, that was a short 3 hours.
Yeah.
You bill like that?
But I think it's ready to start here now.
We signed these two papers, and we'll leave them here, you can sign them next Wednesday, and then we'll get them to the, where they gotta go.
Yeah, if they need a third signature, I'll be glad to.
Okay, that's good. Thanks, Mike.
All right, thank you. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Yep.
I need a motion to close the hearing, public hearing for consolidation of Fire District Number 2. I second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. So Pauline, do you want these?
I got a copy of that signature, so you can just leave on my desk. Because I'll have to sign this too. I do have a copy. And here is that, and I'm just gonna do this for 2012. It shows. That was the website.
Good. Yeah,
Derek?
that's Frank. Derek.
What's that?
So what do we have for you today?
Seeing if you have anything for me.
I think we relayed, did we get all the information?
Right?
We relayed, I think we emailed pretty much everything that you requested.
I sent
For
an
tomorrow's
email.
meeting.
Did you get an email from me this morning?
Did I?
Here?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the information that I had. I don't know if there's,
Well, what my question was what's the scope of the work that you want us to do? And that's what I asked on Monday.
You know,
I
Chase?
I think I can sum it up in 3 steps
Okay.
between now and the budget season. Step 1, which will be tomorrow, is we have, as of Monday, we have produced our detailed line item budget for what it takes to operate the solid waste department.
Okay, so we have a detailed line item of the budget that you submitted for 2013.
Not for 13, we have 2006 through 2012 actuals. We are,
That's
still,
a good estimate on 2013, but
Well,
what we submitted, we have what we submitted for.
2013 budget or expenditures?
the expenditures, the line, the.
we're talking about up through 12, because there's no way we're gonna have 13,
Right.
so.
But that should give us a starting point to have the discussion as to what, and I've been admonished for this number. What do we need to base our revenues discussions off of? What number, how much does it take to operate the transfer station? So if we come to that agreement, or at least have progress on that discussion tomorrow.
There's no agreement.
There's no agreement.
All we're doing is just trying to put together the numbers.
Mhm.
So we established, I did read your email, that we want to limit it to just talking about revenue tomorrow.
Or expenditures.
Or we're just talking about expenditures tomorrow.
We're
No.
having,
No revenue.
not yet. Because one thing, any of our revenues discussions
All right,
have
are
almost.
we venturing off the 3 subjects, or is that still on subject 1?
That's still on subject 1.
Okay, so.
Because all of our other subjects seem to be contingent on us resolving this one.
All right, so we're going to discuss expenditures and revenue tomorrow.
We're going to expenditures with the solid waste director and the operator from the operator/secretary of the transfer station. What we're trying to do is get a reasonable number that we can, our expenditures numbers for 2014. What is it gonna take so that we know how much we have to raise? So
Okay.
that's step 1, and
All right.
that's hopefully 80 to 90% resolved tomorrow, or at least we're in a comfortable spot.
Okay,
Step 2 is the committee, and I'm still working on getting uniform information, because everybody seems to have different information regarding the sales tax. So getting one number that everyone,
well, that can be done, that's part of revenue, so we should have that tomorrow.
what we want for this is what I want for the June 6th meeting, is we need the committee, or the commissioners have requested that the solid waste committee come to some sort of consensus on what each municipality needs to contribute to fund the solid waste and joint communications, so that we have our gap number, or the number that we need to fund.
And based on what?
Based on discussion, really, because
So, no, based on what facts?
the,
Cost of previous years, wouldn't be the cost of previous years.
Are we talking about yardage or tons?
that remains, that's step 3, is what do we, what.
Now, your resolution is already by yardage.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with tons, and then how are we paying for it? We pay death involved by what? Tons. So really, the resolution has nothing to do, our resolution is incomplete, because our resolution has to do with yardage, because that's how we based our charges off of. 25, based on residential, based on 26 cubic feet per year per residence. So, with that said, we kind of we're gonna have a problem here. You see what I'm saying? The resolution is incomplete to the charge, or how we being charged. Am I saying that right?
Well, the basic unit that every assessment is based off of is the 26 cubic yardage. It's, the weight assessments were converted into the yardage, and the residential is also based off of this unit, this 26 cubic yard unit. Now, in Mike's email, and what the discussion has been is, well, how do you convert the
You
weight
have that conversion.
into? Yeah, we have that conversion based off of what we've seen and based off of what the EPA has said is a reasonable range.
Okay,
So-
now, are we talking about or doing anything about the rebates or anything that's already been done? Do you want us to discuss that, or is that old news?
I think,
We
if
should
you're
get
talking
an
about the
update.
recent rebates, that was more of adjustment because they figured too much, is that not right?
Mm.
And it wasn't quite, I know she's here, but it wasn't quite worded right in the paper.
I understand.
And that's us trying to rectify our 2012 issue, because of the time that we have, and we can,
Well, here's a
We
time
can bring
constraint
that-
we
Yeah,
have.
I mean, it can be discussed.
We have these time constraints. By the 30th of June, you gotta have something, and we're only meeting June 6th. Okay? This is where I'm going.
well, we can have, correct, this might help me as well. We can still meet on our July 7th, as long as
What-
we have our. 'cause
What
what
that
we-
resolution sets is the max.
I
Now, you can
understand.
always go down or eliminate from there.
You know my theory on that. Max is where we're gonna meet.
Okay.
Mm.
Government never gives back.
Um,
It justifiably, there's always justification, so I'm just wanting to make it as clear as possible what our duties are here, so I can hold some decorum here.
mm.
We get too wound off and I'm getting comments from all sources of business community. How come 5 of these have gotten adjusted? I don't understand how they get it and the rest of us don't. And I'm going, I don't know. I can't answer that.
I
Can
can
you give them a copy of that paper
Mm,
where
I
you
did.
go over?
I did attach the 15%, I did attach the whole year weight measurements, because we have May 1st of 2012 through
Mhm.
April 30th of 2013, so we have the entire year.
So we have the weight measurements.
And I also,
And do you also have the cubic foot measurements to go with that?
I have the pounds and tons, and the conversion table's off to the other side, but what I have is, on that sheet, is what it was projected and what was actually done.
And this was at 12?
And this was the 12 months that we have from transfer station data. So we have that, and in some cases, like the 4 that were given rebates, Mauer Hill, Bush Mize, MGP, and BC, 5 actually, because
Bracken just.
Bracken
didn't quite make.
They were flat, right?
they were
Yeah.
within 10% of their
And
projection.
of course, their production's been down, so.
The only problem I have with your paper, I think Mr. Steck brought it up. BC, there were like 3 months that there were zeros, 5 months. I had no problem with that.
And believe me, I do too, but
Well, and that's where us as a committee are having difficulties to advise or take, we're trying to get wrapped around this. Decisions are being made, not that, again, we understand we're just advisory, but, things are happening. I think there's some, discernment, what are we doing here? Why are you bothering us? If we're gonna go ahead and do whatever you're gonna do, don't bother us. We're talking about very professional people. I'm probably at the low end of the professional side of this, but, there's guys that we're bringing in here they got things to do all day, and the things are gonna happen without the advice of the committee. What do we do? So they said, hey, find out what they want us to do. And I said, I'll do my best.
And that's easy to understand, and we're not trying to do anything on spot, it's a new territory, I think. for all of us.
Exactly, and that's what I said, but
We all want to be
nobody's
on the
used to
same
this.
Well-
Nobody's used to this.
if we can get steps 1, the expenditures, steps 2, the commitments for solid waste, that leaves step 3, how do we fund it? And then we have the mixed approach, which would probably.
Well, tomorrow, we'll have the figures from the state of Kansas. I'll tell you what, they're for everybody. You can go on the website and get them.
Where? I'm having.
Call Trey, he gets them.
Pauline just premium.
Okay, so have those, I'll tell you what, bring those numbers, bring enough copies for everybody, okay? Bring 5 or 6 copies, I don't know who's gonna be there, bring 5 or 6 copies, and we'll see what, and then we'll say, Trey, where'd you get your numbers?
Did you, you asked us on what percent of the sales tax, were you just wanting what the county collected, or do you want what we collect plus what we receive back from the city?
The total.
Or do you want both?
Well, it doesn't hurt to have both.
Okay.
Yeah, just have them both. I mean, there's a certain amount that comes straight from the state, from the sales tax. It doesn't go through any of the communities, it goes straight back to the sales tax, which should increase for the county in 2013 because you consolidated a lot of your accounts, so that should make your ratio come higher. I'll be surprised if it doesn't. It may not be huge, but you should, with your accounting that you changed last year, you should be getting more because your departments have merged all that.
And I know levies went up.
I think number one, we went into this a little bit too fast, we didn't have enough data.
Exactly, and we can fix it, it's just, the problem is just with any budgetary number, I think we wanna get it kinda as close as we can for your budget, because this is embarrassing, for everyone. Here we are giving 50% rebates, and I'm hearing from, I see 125 different people a day. But I'm hearing, hey, how come I'm not getting a rebate at home? I said, well, I don't know, what are you doing? Are you shoving less trash in that you used to? I said, I don't know. They said, we didn't want a new big trash can, we don't fill one up, but we're basing our collection off of that. And I said, well, I can't answer that. I don't know, because that's a city issue, but the county's taking that information. I said, I don't know that yet. We haven't got past the funding part yet. I said, we've been, there's been a lot of work and, numbers thrown around, but first things first, we probably need to, first we're gonna have what it costs to operate it, and we're gonna see how much money comes in. Then I think we can go from there and then start plugging the numbers in. But again, I just want to know from the commission, is this what you want us to do?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there, and again, it's a new committee, this is new to the commission. Are we going to bring some of the stuff through the solid waste committee as you can? Or do we need to meet at a different time of the month? Or what?
I am going to include in the email that's sent out to the general committee updates, things that are in the works.
We should probably run anything that pertains probably to the solid waste, I think probably should be.
Well, I mean, you go back to your moving, recycling, hazardous waste, the rebates that were done, everyone needs to know that on the committee, because what happens is when they do show up 2 or 3 days, they get their information 2 or 3 days before the committee meets. You know how it is, you don't have enough time to take a look at it.
I think, couldn't you simplify it if you went to tipping fee for the businesses?
Well, that's another avenue that needs to be investigated. But we don't have enough information to really, we don't know how much it costs to build a tipping station. Did we ever find out how many bedrooms we had in the county?
In the county, that one's being a little bit more problematic, is what do you qualify as a room? Bedroom, well.
How do you classify houses? Can you tell how many bedrooms are, if we knew how many 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bedroom houses there are in the community, and add in all the nursing homes, all the housing units at the colleges and schools, could we come up with a bedroom count in the county on your database?
Well, I would imagine you could come up with something of that nature out of Orion. Not out of my database, but out of the appraisal database. The appraiser does list how many bedrooms.
How many bedroom structures we have?
Generally. It doesn't say how many units they are. Talk about bedrooms.
Well, you know that there's 363 three-bedroom houses and 450 two-bedroom houses, would it give you that would it give you that count?
I would have to look, I don't know exactly.
We could
I know
probably-
each one.
We could probably
Have a
filter
list.
it, but,
I mean, how hard would it be?
getting some time from the gym and been down for about 2 hours, getting stuff filtered out. The
I-
biggest,
It's just another way to look at maybe a little bit, another alternative on how to fund this thing. And then have a different form, and then, there's only 535 businesses, right? Somewhere around there?
somewhere around there, yeah.
You'd have a whole lot, you'd have, I mean, you go down to apartments, apartment houses, multifamily structures, all this kind of stuff. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be perfect, but the inadequacies that we have right now, at least that would, just tell me I'm wrong, but if I'm just gonna use a fictitious number, $2 a month per bedroom, or whatever, pick a number.
Mhm.
We can find a funding issue. I don't think that we're going to be away from an assessment.
No.
I don't think we're gonna be away from an assessment, and I don't think, as far as the businesses go, we have too many people, the tipping fee thing, would it cost more to do the tipping fee than what it's really worth? I don't know. We don't know that yet, because we don't really know, and it's gonna vary from year to year on what's thrown away.
Mhm.
I think it is, if you wait, you pay for what you're throw away, but there's more to it than that.
Yeah.
I think-
It's tough, and then you're putting it all on, Martin's or whoever's hauling it. Hey, they picked up the hardware store, or Willie's and everybody, and they're not gonna make a special trip out there and say, well, we got 27 tons on here, and I got all these guys, but I gotta go back to Willie's because I only got half of it. It's gonna be very difficult to do that. We're kinda spoiled here in Atchison County, when it comes to trash. We have an outstanding trash service. But, I think we need to look at a different formula, possibly. I just come up with, with the business, we need to come up with the contributions from the businesses are gonna be, and what the residential's gonna be, and multifamily, and,
To be fair.
and that's the reason, I got a 4-bedroom house, I only use one of the bedrooms, but hey, that's my fault. If I don't wanna pay that much more, it's just a thought, but I'd like to exhaust it and make it non-usable before saying, well, it's just gonna be difficult to find out the information.
Well, I've been running reports on the alternatives. The biggest issue is, if you want to say, how do we calculate the tipping fee if the tipping fee is funding 100% of the solid waste department, 50% of the solid waste department, that drastically affects what each individual pays outside of the sales tax. And there's where it is imperative that if we have any discussion about assessments or tipping fees, we have to
And that
know how
gets into
much.
like step 3, because I think
That is
step
step
1 and
3.
2, you're looking at expenditures,
And sales
revenues,
tax.
Well, it's very, if we don't have a lot of information,
yeah.
and we only meet for 1 hour a month,
You're gonna have to have more meetings, I think.
well, we can have more meetings, but it's gonna be very hard to get a lot of good participation.
I think if we can get those 3 steps, and one question that I did have is that, can we have a budget revised after June 30th? We can have the expenditures pretty well nailed down.
Our timeline for the budget is to be done by August 14th.
Right, and that's what my assumption was,
Yeah,
so.
so we got,
That's just 60 days after.
Sure.
Well,
I'll tell you what,
if
4th
we-
of July is only 6 weeks away.
If we can get, the June 6th, maybe an emergency meeting in between June 6th and whenever the July one is, that gives us 3 meetings and 3 more subcommittee meetings to get at least 2 of those 3 things figured out.
Will we have a commitment from the county commission on what their contribution is gonna be from their portion of the sales tax?
yeah, and that's why I asked you, do you want both? You want just what we collect direct, or do you want?
Well, we already know what the city of Atchison's gonna contribute.
Correct.
$412,000 or something like that. So, do we have a commitment? Are you going on the percentage that they're committing off of what they collect? Or, you understand what I'm saying? What's the dedicated commitment from the county?
Well, Derek, I think, I'm sorry, Mike, I think we're asking you to tell us what that should be. No, I think you're asking,
$2 million question.
we're asking you to tell us what that
Okay.
should be from everybody.
Will you also have what you need for communication?
Communications. I mean, it's gonna be an estimate this one, because we haven't gotten fully into that
Okay.
budget cycle with them yet. We can give you.
And, do we know what the city's contribution, what they're contributing, is that for both communications and solid?
Yes, that's 412, 413.
400.
So we don't know how they divided it out or anything like that?
I don't believe so. That'd be a question for Trey, if he's got that split out.
Well, yeah, he's gonna be there tomorrow.
But we can have, I mean, we can run both. I mean, we know as
Okay.
far as what we collect, and then if based on 412 and what we receive from the other cities, if that holds, that's the X factors. Not that, I mean,
But that would still give us
be a
about
huge
joint
swing,
communications, that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. It'd probably impact more on,
Are we sure that we've got all of their residents and rooms counted right? You brought that up
Mhm.
before, we don't?
We're working on the parcels, but
I wrote it on my list again, I just got, a week taken out of my life last week for the reclassification stuff that was going on. But right before that, I was working on, database and mapping operations for Chase to try and find out, who all is counted for and who's not, and what parcels, which are not ag parcels, might be ag or exempt parcels, might not have been assessed or reduced or
accounted for that.
worked with in any manner. So I will be working from that standpoint, and it's on the top of my list. Okay?
okay.
One other thing I would bring up and caution you on, I do remember when we enacted this, not the transfer station, but when we enacted the solid waste fees and changed the way the city did things, even went to the special pickups. One of the things that was going on at that time is that there was a charge per use of dump facilities and per pickup and things like that. And what we found was that a lot of people were hauling their trash out and dumping along the side of the county roads. And I know we'd like to think people are beyond that, but they're not.
It's a lot better than it has been.
Well, and that's one of the reasons is because we don't charge. But in those days, you had dumps all over the side of the county roads because everyone would just drive the county. When they didn't see a vehicle, they'd stop and unload it.
We're gonna have to make that clear, if that comes up again, we're gonna have to have somebody investigate it, and they're gonna be prosecuted. That may deter it, but it
Well-
was bad 10 years ago, I mean, you could look at any ditch and you see trash.
Yeah, and it's just one more added piece of workload that's gonna be on Jack and those things, so it's a big deal, but it's not a big deal, we just wanna make for sure that, everyone's represented here a little bit, but I just wanted to be somewhat clear on what you really wanted us to, really do, and then on the same token, make sure that just see if we need to be in the loop on a lot of these other discussions that has to do with, solid waste.
I think what would be, just the easiest fix would be a weekly update. Is whatever we discussed in our 2 commission meetings, Friday, send out anything having to do with solid waste that was brought up. That would be the easiest, that way it's relatively real time, because we have had problems of having to make decisions at that moment. When Matt brought up the grant for the household hazardous waste, we had to have it in, like, the next day or so.
Sure.
So,
Insurance policy, we got it the day before it was due.
That's what I didn't understand, was receiving that thing like the day of that it's due.
I know, and I think that's good on you guys' part, we don't need that thing, so, all right,
but
we're here to help you.
We like your help. We need your
Well,
help.
it appears to be a little obnoxious, but I think all of us are in a learning process.
I think if you discuss just 1 or 2 subjects at your meetings, wouldn't that help, like
oh, that'd help
Instead
exponentially.
of going 9 different ways and then nothing is.
Well, it's like herding rattlesnakes.
It's getting better, it seems like.
If we could keep it to, as Derek says, first things first, and what we found out in the past 5 meetings is the number. If we wanted to have a discussion about revenues, if we want to have a discussion about sales tax, it's that expenditures number that needs to be figured out. So if we can do that tomorrow.
We'll have a number. One way or another. We'll have a number, we're gonna stick with it, and then we're gonna go
Don't
from
forget
there.
6, 8, 10 copies.
Yeah, get those for us.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm out of here. Sorry about it. You guys didn't bring a box today. Huh? I wanna, hey, and I wanna tell you something, fellas, not that these girls are sitting here. Take a couple hours and just go sit in that office. Just take a couple hours and go sit in that office and see what these girls have to put up with. You're not paying them enough, they don't have enough help.
Thank you, Derek. No, that wasn't planned. I know you did
You're
that.
Roger, we got a little delayed with Derek, 5 minutes, do you think, do you need?
You know better than I do here.
I think 5 minutes.
Okay.
We have Roger here, we need to take 5 minutes with him for executive session, if that's okay. Entertain motion to go into executive session with Roger Benton, Commissioner Patrick Henderson.
75, 319.
5 minutes, so, how much time do you need with?
I was just gonna put the time clock, you know.
B6.
All right, I'll say we'll come back in at 4 o'clock.
Preliminary discussion for the acquisition of real property.
Okay. So coming out at 12:37, is that right? 12:38? Or not 12:38, 3:38.
3:38.
Yes. They can't do this. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
The what? The 6th?
6th, 13th, or 20th of June.
They're all got Thursday.
All Thursday nights.
Well, I get you on meeting, I won't be here the 13th. I have a meeting on
The 6th, 6/13.
Thursday or 20th. Can we get, it'd be nice when we send out the next notice, to get like agenda items from the cities. I think we need a coalition of people, like what subject items we want to talk, so that way.
It's a good idea, I can't.
All of them? No, I think the first one, we had a pretty good attendance from those
I know that.
cities. I don't know if everybody's 100%.
No, we're talking about Jerry.
Oh, having our representatives. Yeah. Well, they should be out of session by then, if the state legislature's still in session by June, then we've got, taking up a lot of money in budgets.
That summit meeting still on for tomorrow?
It is not,
No?
it is postponed.
Okay. And these are the, okay,
Potential dates.
okay. Well, I noticed Muskota had a meeting scheduled for their whatever, so how come that was cut or?
Did have asked someone to be a representative, no one could attend, I think I was just.
Yeah, they had multiple commissioners unable to
Someone on
attend.
vacation, and they wanted to
Okay.
have some representation there.
Okay.
Representative Henry, I know, was not gonna be able to attend, he wanted to be there. I'm trying to think if there's somebody else. Well, I think Pat might have had a conflict.
No,
Oh, you didn't, okay.
I think wasn't it Bauer or somebody, Butler, was out of town.
I had just heard that there were three
Three.
city commissioners that, were out of town.
Okay.
I shouldn't say that, were unavailable.
Okay, well, sounds like more than just the city of Jerry can do something.
Did you grab my copy of the sales tax stuff that you handed me, or did I give it to somebody else?
You gave it to Chase.
Okay.
Well, I can't figure out how you did that. I have this on a spreadsheet, but I'm not quite sure. You have to take it together. If you want it. I have it on a spreadsheet. It goes from 12 to,
The only thing, are we sure that we have labor and insurance and capers and all that everything that's fine numbers? We want to make sure. that-
clear backwards is correct, I mean,
Like, we did before, I mean,
Would you want that in to have accurate figure?
it's good.
It definitely needs to be, yeah. Well, it
but that was
depends.
included in 2013 though, wasn't it?
No,
I
we've always.
don't know. She says it's always been in there, so if it's in the 2000, that would make sense then. If it's in the 2008 and 9 that are audited, then that would make sense.
Yeah, but you said something about.
But it wasn't broke out.
Yeah.
We take the money out of something else to pay it, and then.
Well, that was before, last year, well, 2013, you put them all under their department, the employee benefit part. But like solid waste, joint communication, community corrections always paid their employee.
Sure.
It would come out of employee benefit fund, and then we would in turn would write a check out of solid waste and reimburse employee benefits. And I can,
From like solid waste, joint communications, Cedar Village.
let's see, 2006?
But now, no, two of those are in general, and Cedar Village is still separate. But we did put it into each, even Cedar Village, yeah, even Cedar Village, I think we put it into their department, didn't we, 2013?
Well, they were supposed to be. I don't know how those got calculated with, the health insurance and I don't know, did it get everything, work comp insurance, social security taxes to get paid, is all that stuff included there? Because if they're not, then you're subsidizing the project even more than it looks like you're subsidizing it at the front ends.
Well, let's go back to two. Employee benefits. FICA, do you want, last year we had FICA, state unemployment, state health insurance, state capers, and workman's comp. So, it was reimbursed. Probably every pay period, we would reimburse back in employee benefits.
From those three departments.
Well, that was just solid waste. If you wanted to look, here is, but we did workman's comp, capers, health insurance, anything the county had for employer share. That's 12
But now 13, I think, is coming directly out of,
the department.
yeah. So that way you can kind of, it was a more accurate or closer to like see what each department would cost, with each employee.
Okay.
So then we had salary benefits, but now the breakdown of benefits.
Good. Yeah, I think it's of critical importance for this discussion with this committee that we have a very defensible number of this is what it costs. This is what it will cost to run it. And failing that, the rest, the discussion's gonna bog down if we don't have that. And I've relayed that to Chase, and he tells me that's what he has and is prepared to present, so. Pauline, I have not asked you this, I don't know if you're available to go to that meeting tomorrow, but it might be helpful, because if there's requests for information, we need to get the information for them.
Well, the report I ran for you would show this employee benefits. It goes back to, I pulled it up from, maybe that was 2011. But it went back to, I did,
But how
2005.
many pages was that? Each one of those was,
I mean, I can just print, if you just want employee benefits, I can just print that one.
well, that wasn't my purpose, and what I was why I wanted that was so if a committee member had a question about what are we spending on, they'd be able to look it up themselves if they wanted to. So,
But, I mean, but we did it, we had it split back to 2005. I mean, we split out employee benefits. I'm pretty sure that from the beginning, we did, and I'll have to go back and look.
But what was the employee benefits fund? That was that, all those were being ran through the employee benefits fund?
It all hit employee benefits, but then we went and wrote a check from solid waste to reimburse employee benefits. Joint Communications reimbursed them, solid, senior village, anybody that was not under general fund. Well, Road and Bridge wasn't, but senior village did the health
Law
insurance.
enforcement?
Huh?
Did law enforcement do it too?
Law enforcement only reimbursed the extra for KPNS. Because they at one time were under capers. So theirs, when they went to KPNS, it was higher amount than what the county, so that's the agreement they made with them. They had to pay the difference, just the whatever the KPNS,
But they didn't reimburse back for,
because they're under county general, truthfully. Law enforcement is,
well, now they are, but they weren't before.
no, but they were part of general. They were just split out.
Huh. Okay.
I think we're gonna have to change our bookkeeping because they're gonna wanna know every year, they're gonna wanna see how much it costs the city for. They're gonna give their share of sales tax.
Split out on what?
About the employees and the benefits and all that.
It is split out. Don't need to print you one?
I don't need one, but they'll need one for them all. I would think.
you guys, do I want you to print one on what?
Well, I mean, do you want, how do you want, because
Or it's split out.
employee benefits?
Where what is split out?
Just employee benefits?
Well, we can calculate the salaries, I mean, I think we have salaries worked out, I believe.
Yeah, that's in there, so. Yeah, Pauline, you're sort of asking me, what do I think the committee would want? And, you know, I don't know. That's why I think it might be beneficial if you could go to the meeting, if they had requests for info, we have it there, instead of having to say, I don't know, we'll get back to you on it, but.
The questions were asked were like using accrual-based accounting. That's the type of stuff, and that's the more finite detailed listings, not the general broad. I mean, that's what that's what they've been asking for all along.
Yeah, well,
And we don't do accrual-based basis
yeah,
accounting.
well, then maybe, I don't understand exactly what they're looking for, but you may have a better idea, so maybe you could
Yes, Chris.
predict it,
Yes,
yeah.
Christine. Before I forget, did Melanie know which single component units she was auditing? Do we know that? Or have you had correspondence with them?
I haven't talked with her since before they, probably since beginning of February.
Okay.
I had relayed to her, I thought we wanted the sheriff's reserve, but they've done last year, so I just thought they were doing the same as last year.
I think it's easy to state which ones each year, but I think we relayed that to her.
When is the second to be done?
That's a good question. Super done.
We can hurt it,
RFP as a state beyond August 31st, 2010. Last year it was supposed to be done, it seemed like we were supposed to have it by like August 1st, but it seemed like we didn't receive it even though it was dated, I think like August 1st. I do remember that.
It was not dated when we received it,
Yeah. But I don't have a copy of this year's contract with it.
I may have a file back at the office with it, I should have, because it should be an engagement letter.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was, I mean, I think we relayed to her to have it, if we could have it done sooner rather than later, I mean. Hopefully no later than July.
June the 1st is the open house for the ambulance in Effingham. It's a Saturday from 10 to 2. There's food. Northeast Kansas is April 7th, half a day.
What's Northeast Kansas?
Northeast Kansas, half a day of their conference.
Johnson County.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
June 7th. June the 19th, I think that Hayes is gonna come back with a health board meeting, when they're meeting at 2:15. And so, that's all I've got for June so far.
June 1st is from 10 to 2, I didn't have the time.
10 to 2 at the ambulance, 10 to 2. I don't know what we ever did with that, so nobody runs into it, like lightning or head or something, I don't know,
Oh, the,
around the air
air
conditioner.
conditioner. You still have it here.
We're gonna have to decide what we're
I
gonna
say
do.
just,
Decide what we're gonna do, we better try that Wednesday, on our agenda
yeah,
next Wednesday.
you know, offhand, if that's what, just be done with it, I guess, that'd be my suggestion, just done, so. You said it was June 1st?
June 1st is, 10 to 2. It's pretty handy, I'll put everything on these.
Yeah, I got a couple, I use mine there, yeah.
I use this strictly for this, but
Mhm.
I realize there's a lot going on.
Yeah, June, months start filling up, plus I think June 1st is when departments submit budget, so hopefully here in June, possibly get into July. Meetings, have we had any, outside, anybody trying to schedule meetings like outside, like, receive funding from the county, like outside of?
No, I haven't, sent any letters, you want me to send letters?
Should probably check
I know
Chris.
Northeast Kansas Environmental asked for it.
Okay. I'm
When
not-
he was up here, he asked for continued funding for 2014.
Mhm.
Yeah, he said he was gonna hold us this year, but next year he asked for more money. But then somebody told me that Leavenworth already pays anything to him.
Leavenworth or Jefferson, 'cause I don't think he goes to Leavenworth. Oh, you mean Keith Rickard, or?
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking of
I
some,
might be thinking of a different group.
The counseling group, that's what you're thinking about.
Dennis Foster, Northeast Kansas Environmental.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's more counties in the environmental services than there is even the, county health. County health is like 3 of us now, is that right?
I've done the mental health, there's 3.
Yeah, mental health is 3.
So is,
And I
so
thought
is
Keith,
counties, multi-counties.
but it's not the same 3.
Now it's Jackson, Brown, and Atchison.
Yeah.
And I think Keith said that, Leavenworth does, that they do support it. They did, there was a couple of years where they didn't, it was like 10 years ago.
No, it's just.
We should probably check with Chris to see if he sent out, I don't know if he sent out letters to outside. But I have to check with him. Yeah, well, I know we talked about it, but I can't remember if he sent those out. I haven't talked with him this week. I think it was proceeding pretty quick. I don't think anybody's, I don't know if anybody's said anything in yet. Yeah, I think those last year we did some of those workshop sessions that were outside of the commission meeting, worked pretty good.
The two biggest ones, are Jack and Matt,
Mhm.
have them all come to us, that's what
It's kinda nice to have just a few, like, just come in and see if I can make everybody, it's kinda nice to have a few. I think there's really, committee meeting I had from last week was Chamber, they're having problems with their trolley, It's got about 100-some thousand miles and hours. That's about it. Let's make sure we talk about the parking guard on the ambulance building.
Oh, and, Wednesday, Larry Sharp with K-Camp is coming. I don't have it down there. He just,
For what?
K-Camp,
For what?
he comes every year.
I see.
I think it's just a regular,
I think he tells you now, you're doing or you're not doing.
we should also have a discussion on work session and meeting times, I think it'd be time to do it too. On Wednesday.
Matt, about maintenance.
Yeah. It'll be executive on that one.
Let me ask you a dumb question, Colin, you've been here a long time. How did they deal in the past where employees are starting to pointing a lot of fingers at other employees? Is that all part of it? About employees pointing fingers at other employees? Is that just part of the territory, or how did they deal in the past? Do you get them all in the room at once and say, ding, 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 go at it, or?
Go ahead.
I mean, who do you listen to?
Oh, you mean when they come to commissioners?
I guess that's appropriate, or is that not appropriate to ask?
I'm sure it's appropriate.
Because you've been here.
The only one that they ever was, the only problems they ever had was, senior billets, and they kinda put a stop to employees coming down and doing things like that.
Yeah, and that was more employees tattling on each other, wasn't it?
That or, yeah.
Well, we're getting pretty close to that, though, Pat. I mean, somebody got accused of reading paper, I don't know if that was for you, or who that was for the other day, but she.
breaks either, so if they read a paper at their desk, then, you know,
No, I don't want to get it,
I know, but I'm just, you know,
And it's good that every department backs their employees, but I mean,
yeah.
we hear two stories, who are we to listen to?
Get the other side of the story. I know a long time ago, they used to have a lot of senior village people coming down, the commissioners, and I just got tired of it now.
Well, I think you gotta listen to your employees to a certain extent, but I know in the past, some of the stuff I do, you gotta bring it to the head or it gets out of hand. And I think we're just about that time, it's not out of hand. What, do you need a motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
I make that motion at 4. Is that somebody coming in? No?
Second that. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
4:10? Huh?
4:30.